AITA for sending my son away in order to teach him a lesson? I and my husband Rick have 2 boys. Our birth son Cole, 12M, and our adopted son Brandon, 11M. Brandon had been in foster care up until we adopted him last year. We make sure Brandon knows he can always talk about it with us. And he also sees a therapist weekly. Both boys are doing well, both socially and academically. However, Cole had been distant towards Brandon. We've had many talks with Cole about how he's not being replaced and our love for him will never change. Cole says he understands. So we figured it was an age thing. After all, neither I nor my husband were best friends with our siblings at that age. Rick called me to let me know that he couldn't be home in time for dinner because of a car accident on the highway. I hadn't had dinner planned, so I decided it would be a good chance to order food from this restaurant that I and the boys like. But Rick doesn't. I was walking up the stairs to ask the boys for their orders and overheard them in Cole's room. Cole had gotten upset because Brandon wanted to play video games with him, and was telling Brandon how we only adopted him out of pity. He wasn't his real brother and other horrible things. I stormed in and made Cole apologize. Cole protested and his apology was sarcastic. I and Rick formalized a punishment after he got home, which was that Cole would have no video games and would have to write a 2-page paper about the foster system. We made him read the essay aloud and apologize again to Brandon. But it was still insincere. Cole continued to act like he did nothing wrong. So I and Rick arranged for Cole to spend all of last weekend with close family friends. We explained to family friends why we were doing this and told them to ignore Cole and treat their own kids normally. Their kids were also instructed to ignore Cole. Not be mean. Just ignore. They picked up Cole on Friday and returned him on Monday. I and Rick sat Cole down and asked him how it was. Cole explained how awful it was. Our family friends doted on their own kids and paid no attention to him. He said it felt like he didn't even matter. We consoled him and then asked him, just like how you made Brandon feel? Quote. Cole finally connected the trip to what he told Brandon. We explained how many foster kids never find good parents. And even if he doesn't want to be best friends with Brandon, he needs to respect him. After that, Cole went to apologize to Brandon on his own. A sincere apology too. They aren't best friends at the moment. But now Cole is making a genuine effort to talk to, spend time with Brandon. Cole also seems to be much happier too. As is Brandon. My mother-in-law called to tell us that having Cole stay with our friends was cruel and the essay, grounding was punishment enough, and we made Cole feel unwanted for an entire weekend. I and Rick still believe it was needed. But several relatives are agreeing with Rick's mother. Was our punishment actually just cruel? NTA. Good on you for standing up for Brandon while also teaching your son an important lesson. Siblings won't always like each other, but at least this way they'll learn to respect each other, and who knows? When they're older they might really get along and really be friends. NTA. That's some scared straight parenting. You say Brandon sees a therapist weekly. Perhaps it would also benefit Cole as well. It seems kind of extreme to me. Honestly. It's only been a year since you've adopted Brandon. For his whole life, Cole had all of your love and attention. I certainly don't condone his words and actions, but I get it. You said you are sending Brandon to therapy. Why wasn't this an option for Cole when you noticed him being distant? I'm glad the issue seems to be resolved, but I gotta be honest. I'm kinda leaning toward you being the here. Just think there might have been a different solution. Perhaps not one that worked so quickly. But still, you never know if that punishment will cause problems later on. Info. Did Cole get therapy too? And was Brandon pestering Cole about playing with him? I'm going to say YTA. Just because your technique worked doesn't mean it wasn't cruel. Honestly, I think you need to put Cole in therapy too. Have a think about how you put the start of this post. We make sure Brandon knows he can always talk about it with us. And he also sees a therapist weekly, and we've had many talks with Cole about how he's not being replaced and our love for him will never change. Has Cole had a real opportunity to talk about how he feels? Really open up? Or every time he tries to say something that could be perceived as negative, do you guys rush in with all your, "No son, we love you so much and that will never change. You know that, right?" It seems like there's a real acknowledgement that Brandon has a lot to work through, with no real consideration to the fact that whilst Cole hasn't experienced the same difficulties and troubles that Brandon has, he is still going through a major life change. NTA. The punishment was unconventional and certainly not something I've ever heard of, but it seemed to work. Let the negative Nancys know that the subject is now closed and not up for further discussion. The only thing I'd do differently is to get Cole into counseling instead of just Brandon. Please also consider family counseling for guidance and the tools necessary for healing and going forward. Edit. As this isn't a debate sub, your post may get removed. You're playing a dangerous game. Lady, you were supposed to go a family therapy, not make an experiment with your kid. It could go the other way around and make him hate you, your hubby, and Brandon even more. I can't believe people says you're NTA. Your reassurance wasn't enough. I would really like to hear Cole about how he's treated. Did you even ask how Cole does feel like when you were adopting Brandon? YTA. YTA, what you did was cruel. You'll be lucky if this doesn't have lasting effects on the kid. Every time he does something wrong will he be sent away and ignored, plus now his relationship with those family friends are ruined considering they ignored him for a weekend. YTA. In my country this punishment falls under neglect. Even if it was one weekend. I am not saying a punishment shouldn't have happened, but this is extreme. I am actually disgusted by you and your partner. This will potentially cause long-term issues. It may have got the result you wanted for now, but congratulations, you have taught your kid that unless they are nice to Brandon they mean nothing to you. And if he isn't nice to him then he gets sent away. So it is better to look like he is making an effort. Just checking. But when Brandon realizes the power he now has over Cole, if Cole is mean to me, he gets sent away. Will you make sure Brandon gets punished at the same level? Cole should have been punished for his behavior, but you took it too far, and you better hope this doesn't cause bigger issues down the road. Edited for grammar. We explained to family friends why we were doing this and told them to ignore Cole. YTA. You went too far. It doesn't matter if it worked. And you embarrassed Cole in front of the friendly family as well, which won't be forgotten by any of them. Or Cole, WTF were you thinking? And told them to ignore Cole and treat their own kids normally. Their kids were also instructed to ignore Cole. Not be mean. Just ignore. Hello? WTF is wrong with you people? No wonder your kid is mean to his brother. Esh. Geez, this is hard. Like, I get why you did it. And I'm glad it seems to have worked. I'd be more worried you just taught one kid that he's replaceable, and if he acts up you can just send him away to a place where he's unlikely to be loved and appreciated. Kid needs therapy, and perhaps that should have been the route you took before sending him out to Camp Invisible. YTA. People are going to eat this up, because too many people think that punishing your children should be like something out of a movie. Your son needs therapy, and you need to stop railroading his feelings by saying you love him and aren't replacing him, and start showing him. Words are cheap, but actions are everything. Esh. So your response to your son mistreating and ignoring your other son is to do the same exact thing to him. And you're expecting this to help how? You think he's gonna come back and be like, "You were so right, my dearest mother and father. Sending me away to be put in emotional distress really showed me that I should be nicer to someone I already have great disdain for." Sure, it worked, for now. But trust me from experience, it's only because he's scared of it happening to him again. Not because he's actually learned a lesson about treating people with kindness. Sure, you got what you wanted. But do you want a son who pretends to be better to avoid punishment, or do you want a son who's actually better? Because to me, when it comes to this type of parenting, it really doesn't seem like y'all care about how you get there, as long as you get the results you want in the end. But keep it up and you'll be back to only having one son in a few years. Y'all could really benefit from family therapy. Not purposely humiliating your child because you're too lazy to actually get to the root cause of his behavior. YTA for arranging to have one of your kids be emotionally abused for a whole weekend as a way to teach him kindness. Was your son on board with getting a foster sibling, adopted siblings? I thought agencies took the opinion of existing kids into account. Anyway, the way to deal with that was to get your older son into therapy. Not come up with the messed up plan. YTA. I'm glad it had a good result, but this is not a healthy way to parent. You made the choice to bring a new kid into your house without making sure Cole was on board. And you say you're sending Brandon to therapy. But what about Cole? You made absolutely no effort to talk to Cole about his feelings and simply punished him. That's not okay. YTA. No matter how hard you try, you can't force a relationship between them. Now your son thinks you will send him away if he doesn't get along with you other son. I'm sorry, but he doesn't consider him a brother. You could have taught him that lesson in a better way. YTA. Cole was probably lashing out because his self-esteem has taken a beating. He may have gained empathy, but now he may also think more poorly of himself. But internalize the abuse instead of picking on his brother. I'm not a parent, but your punishment felt intended to hurt your kid. Which isn't great. You taught Cole that if he does something wrong, you'll shun him and persuade others to shun him. You have shown him your love is not unconditional. That insecurity will stay with him.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.